Random hamster. Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be going over some leaks concerning Season 22, 23, and possible upcoming changes in Destiny 2. But like I always say, take this with a grain of salt because this is a leak. So we start off with Season 22 being named Season of the Witch. Eris and the Crow are center place in this season. We are collecting Lucian ghosts so that we can find Imaru. Imaru is locked up in a Scorn prison by order of Xivu Arath. Venus was apparently supposed to come back this season, but was changed to fit a new narrative. However, we end up rescuing Imaru, which gains his trust, and then Savathun is thus resurrected. Crow has a crucial part in this season because of his past. I guess it's with the Scorn, so with him once leading the group of bosses that we took out during Forsaken. Even though he doesn't remember that, we still do. Now look, it's so far so good, alright? The whole Venus thing kind of came out of nowhere, but I will say everything else pretty much lines up with what we're going to be getting next season or what's confirmed to be happening. Anyways, a recap of Forsaken is for the new players in this season, which is going to be important for Cade's return in the final shape. Apparently, according to Savathun, a sacrifice is needed in order to enter the portal. This was originally supposed to be us finding a MacGuffin of sorts on Venus, but supposedly a Vex related artifact is going to be the device that we use to get into the portal. Oh, and by the way, this kind of matches up with what was said in the last video or the last leak that we covered, because I do remember this being said for some reason. However, the sacrifice involves Zavala, and he decides to make this decision because he no longer wants immortality. And guys, I mean, if this is true, right, let's just say if this happens, I called it, bro. He's gonna die. He's definitely gonna die now, all right? I don't know how Osiris hasn't been clapped yet, and to be honest, he probably should have been the one to die in Lightfall as opposed to Rohan. But nonetheless, I mean, Zavala coming to this conclusion, if this is true, I mean, like, we kind of saw it coming, man. Like I said before, man, like they had no recast for Zavala after Lance Reddick's death. So, I mean, they kind of do have to just kill off the character, man. I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if that happens. The leak continues to say that Keitel is not pleased to be in alliance with the Lucian Hive after what happened on Tor Bottle, but she accepts the circumstances anyways. The new activity is a public event based one. We free trapped Lucian ghosts from Wrathborn and Vex across the system. Saladin then has bounties of targets for us to defeat across the solar system. These bounties will drop seasonal weapons, and they will be tied to unlocking the new exotic. The new PvP map coming in Season 22 is going to be the Vex themed one called Multiplex, and here's another Crota's End return. Apparently there's going to be no new encounter. However, all encounters are longer with changed mechanics. The bridge encounter revolves around getting buffs and having people cross the bridge with said buffs, etc, etc. Necrochasm returns, but there is no Crux of Crota. But the Crota fight has the most drastic changes. Hopefully they're right, because once again, I've never done this fight ever, and I would love to do it in D2. But that's all for Season 22. Season 23 is up next, which is called Season of the Exodus. We help restore colony ships in the system, the Cosmodrome, Europa, and Nessus, to be specific, which plays into the seasonal activity. Ada 1 has provided gear and a safe haven in the vaults for the Elixni refugees. Then there is slight closure to the House of Light story for now. However, there aren't any more details on the specific note. Black Armory weapons return, and they won't have that trademark glow from the Black Armory season, which kind of sucks, not gonna lie. But let's just hope that they turned into ornaments that we can buy for Bright Dust and not silver. Anyways, the Garden of Salvation gets a reprise. The dungeon that is currently named Graveyard of Kings and is set in the Cosmodrome has Aramis as the final boss probably, but the source is unsure about this information. There are going to be Scorn and Fallen enemies, and they are Salvation Splicer loyalists on a mission to find an ancient technology deep within the walls. Hey man, look, I'm all for another dungeon with the Fallen. The Fallen probably have the best activities in the game. I mean, we got the raids and the dungeons. I'm just saying, man, like, all the other races gotta keep up. Apparently, the Exodus Crash and Inverted Spire strikes are going to be reprised with changed mechanics. The Scorn will be present in the Exodus Crash, and the Cabal, of course, will be turned into Shadow Legion in the Inverted Spire. The Citadel returns alongside with new Iron Banner sets. There's going to be 2 returning D2 strikes, at least 2 new strikes for the final shape season, or after Season 22. New Trials armor, most likely going to happen in Season 22, but could be saved for after the final shape. There's of course going to be more Veil containments, and there's going to be a Traveler and Veil origin cutscene. Probably similar to the one that we got for the Witness, but some more backstory is definitely helpful. So now we get to the upcoming quality of life changes. LFG is going to be coming in Season 23, which was confirmed. There's going to be an exotic mission rotator, weekly pinnacle, and every weekly mission can drop an exotic. Hawkmoon and DMT are going to be removed from Xur, but they're going to be replaced by purchasable deep side activators, and you only get one per week. Gambit and Dares of Eternity will be placed in a new location on the map, most likely after the final shape, but they will be tied to the future saga, as Drifter will be a major character instead of a vendor in the future. Gambit and Dares will not get a significant update before the final shape, however. They might get major loot overhauls in the future. Enhancement prisms will be removed, and any of the ones that you have will be turned into Ascendant shards. Enhancement cores will be removed and replaced with the crafting XP system, and you can now masterwork a weapon at a specific level. All weapons can have mementos. Finally, changes will be made to currencies and items in your inventory to make things easier and less cluttered, kind of what they did with the seasonal engrams. Commendations will be updated to fill more of a purpose. If you collect a certain amount of specific commendations, you can guild your set of commendations, and there will be rewards tied to guilding. Commendations will not be tied to guardian ranks anymore, and your power level will stay the same until the final shape, but it will be overhauled in the future. Bungie might bring this back to the old system and remove power completely, but we still will be able to reach a certain level for every expansion. Now look, it's about time they do something about these commendations, because I mean, I'm just kind of not really feeling them. Like, honestly, the only one that I really care about is the best dress one, and honestly, man, your boy always secures the bag on that one. Honestly, they should add a thug shake commendation. Anyways, going on to the final shape, the location will be called the Schism, and the opening area is called the Valley. Old locations will be present here, 8 story missions plus 3 disciple bosses, at least 1 new strike. New enemy race is called Shadow. Finally, we get a new enemy race. See old D1 art concepts to kind of get a visual similar to the Taken, but with much more Vex influence. Cade Returns acts as a guide through the Schism. Vex and Taken are also present in the Schism. Vex are the sole divisive, and the main antagonist is of course the Witness, plus additional disciple bosses. The new subclass is going to be called Strife, and is going to primarily focus around the feeling of rage. Apparently, we learned Strife quite early in the campaign after bleeding ourselves with the Pyramid artifact, which kind of reminds me of this one Star Wars comic, and it took place right after the events of Revenge of the Sith, and Vader had to craft his own lightsaber, and he had to bleed his crystal. I don't know if any of you guys know about that, but essentially what happened was Darth Vader was sent on this mission by Darth Sidious to turn his crystal that powers his lightsaber red, and he did it by bleeding it. So maybe we'll do something similar to that. I hope so. That would be a really cool reference. However, we do end up unlocking more fragments and aspects throughout the campaign. There's no information about the raid, or at least any new information that we've been given, other than the ones that we've gone over already, so you guys already know that. And if you're some of the people that don't know what I'm talking about, just check out my final shape leaks and you'll be caught up really. But now we get to the final part of this leak, which is going to be talking about what's beyond the final shape. There's going to be 3 seasons in 2024 with a 10th anniversary pack in quarter 3 of 2024. There's going to be no new expansions in 2025. Might be 2 larger drops similar to House of Wolves and Warmind was, instead of 4 seasons, and a trilogy of expansions are planned for 2026 and beyond. These code names for the 3 expansions are Chaos, Path, and Relativity, and I guess the supposed story is going to revolve around the Vex and the Nine and the conflict between Xivu Arath. Now, here we go with my final thoughts. Do I think this is real? Like 60% of the way. I mean, it sort of makes sense. Most of the stuff that is going to be happening and that is already in this leak has sort of been confirmed already, and it kind of goes with the narrative that we're being fed. And honestly, this leak seems a little less optimistic than the last one that we were looking at, because I was reading your guys' comments, and you know, some of you guys said that that last leak that we looked at was pretty much everything that we ever wanted in Destiny, so it seemed kind of fake. But I'm curious to know what you guys think about this one. Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Sub up, stay safe, and peace.